You're watching Football Daily, and these are the 10 biggest football scandals in history. 10. Benzema, Ribéry, and the 16-year-old prostitute. Karim Benzema and Franck Ribéry managed to outdo Wayne Rooney's sex scandal in 2014 when they were put on trial for having sex with an underage hooker. The girl, Zahia Dahar, was 16, above the age of consent but too young to go on the game legally, leaving the French internationals facing 3 years in prison. Ribéry had even flown her to Munich as a present to himself, but claimed that the only money exchanged was for food and flights. Both men said they didn't know how young she was. 9. Nigerian age fraud. In 1989, Nigeria were handed a 2-year ban from international football after 3 of their players were found to have used false birth dates in the Under-20 World Cup, a competition which also featured a young Diego Simeone. At the time, observers were impressed by the maturity of the young Super Eagles, with Brazil legend Pelé remarking that an African team will definitely win the World Cup by the turn of the century. In 2009, it was announced that age tests would be conducted before the Under-17 tournament. Nigeria promptly discarded 15 of their players. 8. Israel's playoff orgy. In 1999, there was outrage in Israel as the national team fell to an 8-0 aggregate defeat at the hands of Denmark. The first leg had ended in a 5-0 home loss to the Danes, and dissatisfaction increased when politicians suggested that the Israeli players had used up all their energy partying with prostitutes before the match. An inquiry followed, but for some, the details didn't matter, as Israeli Internal Security Minister Shlomo Ben-Ami said, "Denmark were so much better than us that if their players had spent all night partying with call girls, it would have made no difference." 7. North Korean deer-gland doping. Failed drug tests often result in bans, but almost never in entertaining excuses. But in 2011, the Women's World Cup saw an all-time great justification after 5 of the North Korean squad tested positive for steroids. The team's coach claimed that the results were caused by an extract from the glands of the musk deer, which had been given to the players after they had been struck by lightning during a training session. Weirdly, the tournament organisers thought that seemed far-fetched, and the North Koreans were sent home in disgrace. 6. John Terry. He might be a hero to Chelsea fans, but not everybody admires Chelsea defender John Terry. In 2010, the media reported that Terry had had an affair with Vanessa Peroncel, the ex-girlfriend of former teammate Wayne Bridge, and mother of Bridge's child. Peroncel was recovering from the breakdown of her relationship with Bridge when the Chelsea skipper went over to offer her friendship and support. But he was clearly a bit too supportive, and the revelations saw him stripped of the England captaincy, while Bridge refused to shake hands when their clubs met in the league. 5. Andrés Escobar. Colombia went into the 1994 World Cup with hopes of winning the competition after smashing Argentina 5-0 in qualifying. Their captain, Andrés Escobar, was an outstanding defender, and the future of the national team looked bright. But Colombia went out of the tournament after Escobar scored an own goal in a 2-1 defeat to the USA, and the country was stunned. 10 days later, Escobar was in the parking lot of a liquor store when he was shot and killed. The bodyguard of drug dealer Santiago Gayon, who had allegedly lost a lot of money betting on a Colombia victory, was sentenced to 43 years for the murder. 4. Richard Keys and Andy Gray were the faces of Sky Sports in 2011 when they were recorded mocking assistant referee Sean Massey and claiming that women didn't know enough about football to be match officials. The following days saw the situation worsen, as footage came to light of Gray making suggestive comments to a female colleague, while Keys awkwardly quizzed Jamie Redknapp about sex with an ex-girlfriend. Keys' nonsense claim that
it was just banter
has become semi-legendary in the realm of sexist bullshit and failed to save either man's job. 3. The murder of Eliza Samudio. Brazilian goalkeeper Bruno Fernandes was tipped to play for the national team in the 2010 World Cup before he became the focus of a police investigation into the disappearance of his ex-girlfriend. Fernandes got former model Eliza Samudio pregnant, but was enraged by her decision to keep the child and refused her demands for support payments. Samudio subsequently went missing, and it later turned out that Fernandes had arranged her kidnap and murder with the help of his friends and family. Public outcry followed, his contract was suspended, and he was sentenced to 22 years in prison in 2013. 2. Juventus match-fixing scandal. Football has always been a religion in Italy, but the behaviour of some clubs has occasionally been less than angelic. In 2006, the sport was rocked by the news that teams including Milan, Lazio and Fiorentina had fixed matches by making sure favourable referees were selected for specific fixtures. Juventus were the hardest hit. The Bianconeri was stripped of their 2004-05 and 2005-06 Serie A titles and relegated to Serie B, beginning the following season in the second tier with a 9-point deduction. Juve stars Lilian Thuram, Zlatan Ibrahimovic and Fabio Cannavaro left the club, while Gianluigi Buffon, Alessandro Del Piero and Pavel Nedved stayed and helped the old lady secure a return to the top flight the following year. 1. FIFA. At number 1 is the biggest, dirtiest bastard of them all, Sepp Blatter, and the FIFA corruption scandal. In 2015, the FBI arrested FIFA executives on charges of wire fraud, racketeering and money laundering, claiming that members of the organisation accepted millions in kickbacks from sports equipment companies and marketing firms. Sepp himself was banned from football for 8 years by FIFA's Ethics Committee and is still under investigation by the FBI over his involvement in a series of bribes that saw an incredible $100 million change hands. Goodbye, Sepp. You won't be missed.
So those are our top 10 scandals in football, but have we missed any out? Let us know in the comments. And if you want to know more about traitors in football, check out yesterday's video. And as ever, don't forget to like and subscribe.